you're just in time to watch some Televoid with me. I've had a few people asking for my thoughts on this, so I thought I'd give it a watch and see what all the fuss is about. Televoid, a web series created by the YouTuber known as Brutalmoose. It had a pilot episode released in late January of 2016, which then went on to having its official first episode on March 27th of the same year. The pilot episode isn't actually canon to the main series, as the creator has announced publicly for us to see, so we can actually focus more on the first 5 episodes that you can find in the Televoid playlist. The show is hosted by a man called Ian, and for the whole first episode he seems to be sat in a small room with a plant, a couch, and a retro TV from Montgomery Ward. He decides to review old TV specials that have gone lost over time. The episodes always show up with a commercial, and the show always seems to be presented in colour. I don't think there's any significance to this, but it's quite interesting to note that the colours for each letter appear in the same order that you can see on the thumbnail for each Televoid episode. I think that's all the facts that I know so far, so I think we should just get on with the episodes and see what we can find. Really sorry about the wait, guys, my internet's not the best. There we go. The first episode begins with Ian reading cards telling him what to say to the audience, suggesting that there's a higher power running this show. This lets us know right off the bat that he knows the audience is there too. The cards were telling Ian to go straight to the TV, but Ian decides to ignore all that as he feels he needs to give a proper introduction and wants to explain where he is and how Televoid actually works. As he's about to explain it though, he is immediately cut off.
I bet you're wondering who I am, where I am, what this show is all about, and how I get all these old TV shows and videos on this TV. Let me explain. My name is Ian, and I'm So now that you know everything you need to know about Televoid, let's watch some TV already.
However, if you remove the white noise, you can kind of make out what he was about to say.
My name is Ian, and I'm So now that you know everything you need to know about Televoid...
It sounds like he's about to say, I'm Ian and I'm stuck in the TV. But to be honest, he only manages to say the letter T, so you could argue that he's about to say, I'm stuck in the Televoid. So it's really anyone's guess, I guess. Yeah. He goes on to review the bike safety video from the 1990s, which honestly is very entertaining to watch.
Check out your bicycle before you ride.
A few things I found interesting to note during this review though. This may help us when we place our ideas together. One, he is actually able to make himself appear on the TV screen when he wants to make a joke.
Up in the emergency room with your scars and your stitches, maybe facing down.
When your head scrapes the pavement and your brains fall out.
Oh my god, I'm gonna die, and Jesus doesn't let kids into heaven if they didn't wear their helmets. Oh my god!
Will be your final shout.
2. He's able to make objects appear in front of him when he thinks of them. For example, when the bike safety video is talking about wearing a helmet, Ian is able to make one appear in this dark room and wear it. It's either that or this small room just so happened to have a bike helmet lying around, you know, even though he's kind of clearly established that he's trapped in this room.
Wait a minute, she got sent here just for doing bike tricks? My parents would have been thrilled to hear that I was doing bike tricks back in the day. But then again, I guess they would have been thrilled to hear that I was doing anything besides sitting around and watching TV.
Huh. That line right there could be interesting, because he's just acknowledged that he has parents, meaning he's most likely human, and he spent too much time watching TV. So, maybe watching too much TV is how he got into this mess? He also has an exercise bag that just so happens to appear at the end of the episode, which is a little strange.
What a workout. I am exhausted, but I have one last card I gotta read. If you'd like to say hello, share your thoughts on Bicycle Safety Camp, or even show off your Sprocket Sam fan art, feel free to reach me via electronic mail at ian@televoid.net. Thanks so much for watching the first episode of Televoid, and I'll see you next time.
Ah, and that's the first episode. That wasn't too bad. I think we did quite well to get through it. On to the next episode. 4 more to go. The show officially begins with a black and white camera looking directly to Ian while he appears to be searching through the channels on his TV, which is kind of where we left off in the previous episode. Text then appears in front of the camera saying begin episode. The camera suddenly switches to colour and Ian all of a sudden is able to see the audience. He tells us that nothing has been on the TV since the last time we were here, but immediately after he says this, the TV finds a show to watch.
Are you kidding me? It's another show! I'm so lucky right now. Man, what are the odds that you would be here right when this hunk of junk decides to pick up another show? Sorry, I'll worry about that later.
Coincidentally, the TV only seems to work when an episode of Televoid begins. This episode is about another safety video, but this time is about crossing the street with a giant raccoon thing. Yeah, Ricky the Raccoon is his name.
Ricky Raccoon shows the way.
Nothing much is said during this review as he mainly stays focused reviewing the safety video and doesn't acknowledge anything about Televoid until the end, which I think is the best way to go about this towards the first few episodes, as not many people will have picked up that there's a deeper story about this show Televoid.
Oh. Is that supposed to be his teleporting noise?
During the safety video, this magical raccoon is able to teleport and teach kids about crossing the street safely, and when Ian thinks about what it would be like if he was in this position, that's exactly what happens a second later, but this time it's a drunk fox instead.
My name is Frank the Fox, and I'm here to teach you about... Oh my god, I'm here to teach you about...
Walking safety?
Shut the f*** up.
Quite clearly a parody of Ricky the Raccoon if you hadn't figured it out. Just like the helmet in episode 1, it doesn't quite make sense how this is able to work. Every time Ian seems to think of something, it appears right in front of him. Not only that, he's also able to teleport from one side of the room to the other. Strange. Frank the Fox, that's his name, leaves Ian a graduation present behind him, which is a printer, so he can read all the fan mail he's been getting from his viewers. He then realizes the episode is about to end and tries to stop it, realizing he can't, and now has to wait for the next episode before anything else can happen.
Oh, it looks like I'm supposed to say bye. Well, hey guys, I'm gonna hold on to these. Thank you so much for writing in. I don't really feel like saying goodbye now, though. It's been so long since you were here. What do you say we just try and find something else on TV, huh? I mean, what's gonna happen if I don't say bye now?
Huh. It's really strange. It's almost like Ian is trapped in this room and the creators of the show only bring him out when they want to make a Televoid episode. And in the meantime, he's just kind of sat there doing nothing. The next episode opens up as if nothing happened. Ian does, however, apologize for the long wait as he says he can't exactly help it. He's just been sitting here waiting. Ian then moves on to review a show known as The Baby Game, where contestants pretty much watch kids do challenges and then have to guess who will win, or guess what the kids are describing, or guess who will figure out a loophole in the game they're playing, something like that.
Round one, and it is romper race time. It's worth 10 points to anyone who can pick the winner. So let's watch the champ and two challengers as they give you an idea of their form. Number one.
Nothing seems to happen for us to take note of for the actual Televoid show until the end of the episode, where Ian decides to read some emails from the printer. However, one particular email seems to have been caught on camera by accident, and it says this. They know. This place is not safe. They are monitoring emails too. You must run from this place before they know, you know, I know, they know. For the sake of your soul, you must escape the Televoid before it consumes you and spreads to the free population of this planet. Loving the show, keep it up. From your fan in Australia, Filthma Velostol. I can't pronounce words. I just want to say I don't believe this is an actual character for Televoid. I'm pretty certain it's a fan that sent this email to him, but it obviously fit the Televoid lore quite well that he chose to include it in the show. Ian reads one of the emails that was sent to him, asking to extend the aerial of the TV for a better signal. But as he does this, it leads to some very strange imagery. The TV discovers another Ian in black and white, hosting the Void's favourite game show, Race Your Baby, a parody of the show he was just watching and reviewing. What seems to follow is bizarre imagery that makes Ian decide to never try this again. Yeah.
Well, if you'd like to send me a message, feel free to do so at ian@televoid.net. I'll see you guys next time. For now, I think I'm just gonna put this back down.
Probably for the best. Either way, I'm really enjoying this show so far. We've had 3 episodes, but only 2 more to go, so I'm very curious to see where this ends up. There seems to be multiple Ians, warning emails, and a TV that only works every time an episode is playing. Really strange, and I'm very intrigued. This episode is called A Message to No One, and we begin to see a very big change in Ian, as this time the episode opens up with a black and white picture again, meaning the episode hasn't fully started like we saw in episode 2.
When I was just a little girl, will I be rich?
During this time, we see Ian has been waiting a very long time for this 4th episode to come along, as his hair's grown out and appears to have bags under his eyes. When the episode finally begins though, he doesn't even seem to care anymore, and just moves straight to the TV. At first he doesn't seem to know what he's watching, unlike every other episode where he has many facts about the history of the show. This quickly changes when Static appears on the screen and switches to him facing the camera and giving us a little history about the short special we're about to watch.
No title on this one? I have no idea what this lady is talking about. What are we even watching? This film is called A Message to No One, and it was produced in Chicago by Wilding Picture Productions, Inc.
Almost as if everything that just happened before didn't even happen.
Oh.
Throughout the episode, it keeps the focus on the show he's reviewing, which is A Message to No One, where we see into the life of a family who have a listening problem.
Stinky! Stinky, you come back here!
Ah yes, and who could forget Stinky, the family's pet skunk?
A Message to No One really intrigues Ian as he gives a very interesting thought.
What impressed me most about A Message to No One was the idea that they were all the embodiment of Arthur's presentation all along. That's not a bad plot twist for a sponsored film. It really makes you think. What if I'm just words on a page, or frames on a screen, or thoughts in somebody's head? Spooky.
Wait a second, what was that last part?
What if I'm just words on a page, or frames on a screen, or thoughts in somebody's head?
Thoughts inside someone's head. I mean, he said a couple of other things, but that was the one he decided to leave it on. That line, thoughts inside someone's head. I'm gonna keep that in the back of my mind while we watch the rest of this episode and episode 5, and see if my thought changes. Just like the previous episodes, the second he thinks about something, it appears right in front of him. This time, it's Stinky the skunk from A Message to No One.
In fact, legend has it that he's still out there somewhere. Some say that if you listen real close, you can almost hear him.
Sup?
Stinky?
Ian decides to read some more fan messages in front of Stinky, but then realizes he can't. Every time he picks up a piece of paper, static appears on the screen and it clearly seems to be affecting him.
Ask you something real quick, Stinky. Did you feel that?
Huh? Oh, sorry, I wasn't listening.
After 2 attempts, he eventually figures out he can read emails through the reflection on the TV screen.
If I were you, I'd be careful what emails you read out loud. They obviously know that we know what's going on behind the scenes. I thought I'd let you know as well.
He collapses to the floor shortly after though, leaving us to wonder where the next episode will take us. It's almost suggesting that the show and Ian are one of the same, which is why he's able to be attacked by the static when it appears on the screen. Episode 5 begins with a completely new look of the background, and even has a band playing the theme tune with the 3 babies and the drunk fox from episodes 2 and 3. We then get what appears to be a completely different version of Ian, as he seems to be smiling and back to normal, no bags under his eyes or anything. Not to mention the fact that we now have a white background rather than the one we've seen in the last 4 episodes.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to Televoid. Let's give it up for the Televoid band, everybody. As you all know, my name is Ian, I'm your host, and here at Televoid we all like to gather together and take a break from our busy lives to watch some TV together.
Just when you think this episode is going to be unrelated to the previous 4 though, we then get this.
Death can happen at any moment. So it's a good thing we have companies like Bar Film,
hinting to us that this is probably the same Ian we saw in episode 4. But what happened? At the very end of the last episode, we see Ian fall to the ground, but now in this episode, he's awake, perfectly fine, no bags under his eyes or messy hair, and he's got a white background as well. Could this be suggesting death? Or a dream, potentially? This episode seems to be reviewing another road safety video. However, this time it's about a woman turned superhero after being abducted by aliens, saving kids from accidents just about to happen and teaching them about the dangers of the world. Another fun TV special that Ian gets to review.
Help! Help!
This looks like a job for Safety Woman and her incredibly loud superpowers.
Certainly a lot of strange moments. Shortly after it's finished though, Ian finally gets to read some more fan mail, but this time isn't affected by the static on the screen. The fan asks what happened to the 3 babies that we saw in episode 3, who are now part of the band at the beginning. Ian decides to interview each one individually, and this is pretty much what happens.
Alright Joel, tell me, how has the newfound fame from appearing on the Baby Game affected your life? Outside of being on the Televoid band, of course. Interesting, very interesting. This next question is for Judge Mistis. With your busy schedule, are you still able to keep up with your hobbies? And if so, what do you like to do in your free time? Fascinating. Baby number 3, we just watched a film about safety. Do you have any other safety tips that you'd like to add to the list?
Well, when you're right, baby number 3. Safety Woman isn't real, and no one can save us.
We then get to the end where Happy Ian asks for the babies to play him out and lets the end sequence roll. But we are greeted with static straight after, followed by darkness. A shot fades in of the old room with the Safety Woman video playing on the TV, but no Ian in sight. The camera changes and shows he's laying on the floor, hinting this whole episode that we just watched was all in his head. The screen goes fuzzy as the word unstable flashes on the screen and Safety Woman appears to possibly bring him back to life. He looks around to realize he's still stuck in the small room. The episode is complete. And that was Televoid. We've only got 5 episodes, but I'm pretty sure we're going to be getting more in future according to the creator. But what we have so far, it's pretty cool. The quality of these episodes are incredible and thoroughly entertaining throughout, whether or not you're wanting to see the mystery behind the show. And so I guess it brings me to the next part of the video where I talk about what I think is going on in Televoid. Well, honestly, like I said earlier, I think it all takes place in the mind of Ian. Ian is completely lost in his mind after watching too much television when he was younger. He even mentions his parents wanting him to do something other than watch TV all day.
Wait a minute, she got sent here just for doing bike tricks? My parents would have been thrilled to hear that I was doing bike tricks back in the day. But then again, I guess they would have been thrilled to hear that I was doing anything besides sitting around and watching TV.
Too much television has made him delusional, and he now thinks he's in his own little TV show called Televoid, where he reviews multiple shows that he came across when he was younger. He knows exactly what Televoid is and was even going to explain to us at the beginning, but was immediately cut off before he could continue.
I bet you're wondering who I am, where I am, what this show is all about, and how I get all these old TV shows and videos on this TV. Let me explain. My name is Ian, and
He's created this whole world from what he's seen on TV. Everything is played out like an old TV show, similar to the ones he's reviewing. The higher power that has been mentioned in multiple messages to Ian, I don't believe actually exist. Even if it was a higher power watching him, they wouldn't be able to make characters appear right in front of him when he's thinking about them. They wouldn't be able to make him feel sick every time he read a piece of paper. No. This is all a scenario made up in Ian's head. He's created a higher power, a villain if you wish, to watch over him, keeping him in line. But in truth, he's doing this all to himself, just because he wanted to create his very own TV show. Also notice the recurring theme that appears in Televoid is learning. Even in episode 3, there were still learning moments for the kids when they were figuring out loopholes in the challenges that were given to them by the adults. So maybe, in the very final episode of Televoid, we actually learn about TV consumption and how it can corrupt your mind. And maybe the whole episode will be about Ian coming to terms that that is how he got into this situation in the first place. Watching too much TV corrupted his mind so much that he's now lost in his own mind, thinking he's in a TV show and reviewing other TV specials he watched when he was a kid.
Listen to me, Ian, and listen well. Before I escaped the evil clutches of Patricia, do you know what I did?
Guess you listened?
No, you stupid! I've reflected on my current situation.
Televoid takes place in the mind of a man driven mad from watching too much television, and now could be forever trapped in the Televoid. But Jamie, there must be a deeper meaning. We always have deeper meanings, otherwise it's not a good theory. Well, to be honest, you could be right. We don't have many episodes out of Televoid yet, so a future episode could start dropping hints to a much deeper meaning that I haven't been able to see in these first 5. The reason I don't believe the meaning of this show isn't too deep is because of an answer the creator gave to a fan on his website. They asked, what is your favourite part about doing Televoid episodes? And this was his response. The best part is getting to make something weird. I like getting to put bizarre stuff in a show without having to explain or excuse it. It's a nice break from the typical videos that I work on, where I'm basically explaining everything to my audience. Those videos are meant to be understood. When it comes to Televoid though, I get to do whatever I want and really see a vision through. And that's awesome. Being inside a mind would be the easiest way for this story to go, as Ian would be able to do whatever he wants for the series without having to worry if it'll fit the Televoid lore. If it's in the mind of Ian, then he has full freedom to put anything he wants into Televoid and make it as weird as possible, getting to create something weird without having to explain it. So yeah, that was my interpretation of the show, and if you have a different one, then that's perfectly fine. If you also want to, then feel free to comment them below so I can give them a read and see what you guys think of the show Televoid. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Stay safe, and don't pull a Pickard.